There he is, ladies and gents. Bob McGinn, the beard coming in full, getting ready for the winter. I'm picturing Bob out there in Celine, hunter gatherer type, getting the winter's meat for Pat as the weather turns. Did you ever hunt, Bob? I never really asked you that. Did you ever get into that out in the UP?
Yeah, yeah, ruffed grouse, aka partridge, and that's about it, really.
Okay. Not deer,
No, never,
turkey.
no.
Yeah, I
My
was
dad, my dad was a goose hunter, but he died, when I was real young, so I never got into that. But ruffed grouse, breaking brambles and breaking bush through there, and almost never seeing any, and almost never hitting anything. But it was great exercise, and it was really fun.
One of my regrets those 5 years I lived in Wisconsin is I never went sturgeon fishing. Go out there on the ice, drill a hole, freeze to death. It's like those fish are nuts. I mean, they're like prehistoric. They're so cool looking. Even if the odds are really low that you're going to get one, we should have done that. Done a podcast out there on the ice.
Guys spend a lifetime trying to catch one sturgeon or one muskie, a muskellunge. Yeah.
It's weird though. We probably talked about it on here. I'm like the black sheep of my family. Everybody else hunts. We grew up in the woods. I'm back here now in Western New York. My grandfather, who's still kicking, 97. My dad, my brother, cousins on my mom's side, uncle. Like I don't know. You know what it was though? Now that I think about it, when my brother went to do the hunter safety course, because that's the first thing you have to do to get into hunting, and you could do it young, like I don't know, 11, 12 years old. I was going to join him and I didn't. This is one of those weird core memories that never leaves you. I didn't go because I wanted to watch the Green Bay Packers play that Sunday against Carolina. And it was a meaningless September game. I think KGB had like 3 sacks on Chris Winkie early 2000, 2001, something like that. And I remember thinking like, I'll get around to it. We've got deer all over the place here. Like I said, we've got a bear right now in the backyard, basically. And I just never got around to it just because football took over my life at a young age and not much else mattered, really. I mean, I didn't
Boy,
really
that's
do
funny.
much else other
Yeah.
than watch.
Does your dad hunt now?
He does. He's definitely tapered it off a little bit. He does. He's kind of lost the desire to kill, I think. But not my grandpa, man. If he sees a buck, it's going down. That's for sure. We do have a rule. It's got to be at least a mountable 8 or a 10 to
Oh,
warrant a
really?
shot. Yes. So it's not just the old, it's brown, it's down, squirrels to doe to spikes. No, it's got to be mountable.
Big. Okay.
So
Wow.
my wife's an animal lover, so that's what I tell her. It's like, hey, I do like threatening her from time to time that I'm going to get into hunting just to kind of keep her on her toes. Now we've been married 7 years. Hey, maybe I'll just pick it up. Maybe I'll just pick it up on. All right.
Tyler, do you fish? Because
Yeah. Oh, I love to
I've almost
fish.
never done that.
Oh, fishing is great. I haven't in a long time. Growing up, that's all me and my brother did all summer long was go bass fishing. We've got 2 ponds on our land, and you always know the secret spots in town. And speaking of my brother, can I give him a little love here on the podcast?
Yeah, let's hear about that wedding.
Austin Hunter Dunn is a married man. Had the honor, the privilege to be the best man for the best man I know, and I don't say that lightly. There is not a better human being on the face of the earth than my brother. We've been best friends forever. It's weird, you do all these podcasts and TV spots and radio, and everybody's probably tired of hearing my voice, but getting ready for a best man speech, like of the chance to talk about somebody you love. I mean, the nerves really got going for that, but once uh once I got blabbing, I really couldn't stop. It kind of turned into more of a podcast than a toast. And Austin, Emery, they're just meant to be. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting for basically like an angel to fall from the sky for Austin. I kind of like leapt right into marriage and 3 kids and a house, and that's where we're a little different. I'm very 0 to 60, slamming the gas pedal in life. Austin's very meticulous and methodical and matriculates the ball down the field. Whether he's playing poker, my God, we'd play poker and he'd sit at that table all night. His patience is unbelievable. We used to, like, when we lived together in Buffalo for a brief stint, like he would make chicken parm for dinner and it would drive me nuts because I'm just hungry. I want to eat. He would take like 2 hours making this perfect chicken parm. And and really, I mean, it's kind of how he's always been. Like even his career, he took his time and what he wanted to do. And I called it Austin time in the speech because I tell you what, he knows what the hell he's doing. He became a scout for the Buffalo Sabres. His hockey intellect is incredible. I'm biased, but he should be a GM of a team. That's for sure. And then when it came to the pursuit of a mate, he took his sweet time, as Austin does. He used to get on my ass about dating girls on apps, and that's how I met Gina. We met online, no shame. And eventually he came around, did the same, met Emery, and she really is just an angel. I mean, I couldn't have imagined a better woman to marry my best friend. They are meant to be. And I just can't wait to see the life that they built together. They're perfect. And it
Awesome.
was great. I should say this, and it was a hell of a time. You remember our wedding. It was
I do.
a lot of dancing, some Thunderstruck, some bad Leroy Brown. It was if our energy and intensity and dancing was about a 7.5 or an 8 there at the Statler downtown Buffalo. I'd
Yeah.
say Westeros, Ellicottville, New York, Austin. It was about a 15 to a 17. It was out of control. It was awesome.
So it was in Ellicottville where you went to high school.
Yeah, yep, right
Right.
there, about an hour south of Buffalo.
Right. Did you have a good turnout?
It was perfect. They didn't want it to be, like ours. I think we had
Yeah.
what 300 people or so. They had 100 people, but we were at a restaurant, so like we had a great dinner, all that good stuff, and then cleared out the tables and got down. And the actual ceremony was on our land,
Wow.
where we live
Cool.
down here. He did at my grandfather's house. Had a big, wooden cross in the yard from a pine that was actually harvested right in front of our house. It was beautiful.
Uh, Neat.
Yeah, nothing beats a good wedding. And it's like everybody that was there came down from Cloud Nine. We just miss it. It was one of those good times where you just want to do it all over again. Any weddings on the horizon for you? I mean, all your kids are hitched. Any
No,
nieces, nephews?
no, nothing there yet.
All right. Well, it was a pretty light week for the NFC North, but we got a hit on it. The
Yep.
Detroit Lions went to Cincinnati. David Montgomery's hometown. We covered David's unbelievable story last year at Go Long, and most of that story was his upbringing there in Cincinnati, and just the trauma, the tragedy, losing a mentor in just unspeakable fashion, and what that did to him, all the way to I believe it was our story where he opened up on it for the first time. His sister the previous February was in a car accident, paralyzed from the neck down. So Sunday against the Bengals was Kiki, his sister, her first opportunity to see him play in the pros. And you could just tell it meant so much to David Montgomery. Threw a touchdown, ran for a touchdown. I don't know, like it, that to me, that was the takeaway watching that game. I mean, just the emotion that must have been coursing through David Montgomery's veins. I can't even imagine. He's an emotional player. He wears it on his sleeve. You can see why Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes wanted him in their building. You know what? And we've gotten to know Jamal Williams really well, and he was a favorite out there as they kind of rebuilt and tried to turn this thing around. Won 9 games in year 2 of the regime, and I think when they decided to move on from Jamal Williams and pay David Montgomery a lot of money, it seemed at the time it was head scratching for a lot of outsiders. But as is the case for the Campbell Holmes regime, things that make everybody else scratch their heads make a hell of a lot of sense there in Allen Park inside the building because he is everything the head coach speaks brought to life on a football field. And I don't know, it doesn't seem like he's slowing down anytime soon, even with all his mileage.
Playing good. Um, all right, so let's start. The NFC North is in the catbird seat right now, Tyler. They moved from second to first, 11, 6, and 1. That's 639. The second division, NFC West, 12 and 8, 600. So they're number one again. We'll go to the Lions first. Their victory 37-24 at Cincinnati. Couple things from Campbell. I mean, you know, I get their transcript because the Lions transcribe him all the time. And you can get transcripts of the Vikings and the Bears online, but you can't
Mm-hmm.
get any Packer because they do not transcribe. So I never read what the Packer people say. So here's a couple Campbell things and Detroit things that I thought were interesting. He's talking on Monday about the room for growth. He says, he said, you put a ball out there and put somebody in front of them. Now, he wants to say they're going to knock that shit out of somebody, but he says they're going to work. They're going to go compete and they're trying to win. So that always fires me up. I mean, Tyler, we know this guy like a drum, and it permeates that entire organization, doesn't it? It's toughness mixed with smarts, man. All right,
Mm-hmm.
then linebacker Derek Barnes after the game, they gave up a bunch of touchdowns. They gave up 21 points in the fourth quarter after this game was a rout. And Derek Barnes says, we know what kind of, now he's referring to Kelvin Shepard, the DC. We know what kind of coach we have, and really, he doesn't allow those type of things. And you kind of almost feel like, man, I let him down. And we don't ever want to do that when it comes to our defensive coordinator, Coach Shep. So you see Shepard over there, and you see Campbell over there in T-shirts on that sideline. It's not the rah-rah stuff. It's the feeling with those people that we're in this thing together.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to accept mediocrity. I mean, we love you guys, but you better perform. And then Campbell, I hear him on the radio today. I'm driving to CVS to buy a newspaper. And one of the guys on the radio, 97.1, says, talking about going to Kansas City Sunday night and blah, 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 and Arrowhead and how tough it is. And what's it going to be like for you, coach, preparing to go to that? Long pause from Dan, and then he says, make sure your head's on straight and calm the hell down. I don't know. Everything the guy says makes sense. And I think of the other coaches around the division right now, and they're just not like him. And I think he's got an edge on almost everybody in the whole league, the way he runs that program with Brad
Well,
Holmes.
well, it's not forced. He's not trying to play a part. He's not going to, I don't know, take classes on how to speak to a large room of players. He's just himself, and he's comfortable in his own skin, and he doesn't give a shit what people think about him when everybody's making fun of him. And like we said, there were owners for teams who listened to him in interviews and thought he was a dinosaur once upon a time. And that's the mistake is, yeah, he's talking about knee biting, but it's the emotion, it's the passion. You've got to have that extreme, and it's got to be real, or players are going to tune you out. And there's a middle ground. We had Mike Silver on the Go Long Pod to discuss his excellent book, The Why Is Everything, and the Shanahan, LaFleur, McVay, McDaniel tree, and how that they kind of innovated the game. And yeah, it's true. Like you do need the scientists and the thinkers and the innovators, and all that stuff matters. But it doesn't have to be either or. It's not like you have to choose brainiacs or cavemen, right? There, Dan Campbell is the perfect middle ground of everything. He is bold. We've debated it. I know you've disagreed with some of his fourth down calls over the years, but he is analytical, and he does believe in going for it, because guess what? Your players are gonna take that on and start to believe in themselves. He believes in his offensive staff, and everything Ben Johnson did. Now John Morton's doing is cutting edge. But you can also tap into old school football, right? We don't have to frown upon that kind of stuff. As long as there's blocking and tackling, it's a violent sport. So you better bring violence, or else You're going to get shoved around and fired. And we've seen it.
No, Tyler, I made a mistake after the first week thinking that O-line problems were really deeply seated and they would have problems overcoming that this year. I made a mistake there. I'm going to pat myself on the back on one other one, batting 50-50 on this loss of the coordinators. As good as Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn were, this is Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, man.
You
And
nailed it.
they were going to get good coordinators, and they have. Johnny Morton and Shepard. These guys are good people. They kept a special teams coach. They got a good staff. They lost a bunch of coaches. This is Dan Campbell just dominating the whole show. And when I was reviewing my notes today, because I watched this a couple of days ago, and I was just looking at the way all these players, I'm just looking at their quality. Muhammad, uh, O'Connor, Lacey, we can go on Nowaski, all these people, Rock Sin. You see people hitting into the game, getting after people. With rare exception, that's all they look for. They look for guys who are good locker room, who will knock the hell out of you, won't ask, you know, and they just got a good roster because of it. They know exactly what they want, and they turn down more talented players, and they get these guys. And yet, at the extreme top of their roster, they have so much talent, it's unreal. All right, let's go to Detroit at Cincinnati.
Great point
I
at the end
want
there, Bob. We'll touch on it here in the film review. They've got high end talent, and you could see it in this
oh,
game.
wow, do they ever? Yep. I want to start with a defensive tackle for the Bengals, number 69, Mike Pennell. There aren't many guys in the league anymore that I actually was in the locker room covering, but I covered Mike Pennell for 3 years there, 14, 15, 16. He was suspended twice. I had a lot of conversations with Mike in that room. He had great talent, 6'4", 330. He was, I don't know, maybe a free agent. I can't remember. Came out of Colorado State, Pueblo. I kept telling him, Mike, you got a real future. You have unreal athletic ability, because he was down in the dumps. I said, you're going to play. You're going to have a career if you really want it, but you're going to have to work your ass off. And we must have had that conversation 5 times. I really like this guy. So he's playing. How many snaps did he play in this game, T? I mean, I've seen him do some good things. He had 20 snaps. He's now 34. He's been with 7 teams. He started only 25 of 143 games. He's got 1 or 2 Super Bowl rings with the Chiefs. Mike Pennell is a big man, a good man, and I hope he's got another year or 2 in him. He's a good football player.
If I can add, he
Yeah.
remembers those conversations, Bob. We sat down at the Super Bowl in New Orleans and kind of dusted off those Green Bay memories a little bit. I mean, he sure as hell didn't remember me. I didn't talk to him much at all back then. He was just an undrafted grunt on the fringes. And you nailed it. And he remembered talking to you about sticking around in this NFL
Did
for a
he?
long time. Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure we touched on that. And
That's
yeah,
cool.
he's just goes to show if you could do something really, really well, even if it's, plugging a gap, you could be employed for a long time.
Tyler, these hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of players who I dealt with, met, communicated, characterized their careers, I'd love to see some of these guys again, but it just doesn't happen, man. I mean, I was not there to be their friend. They weren't there to be my friend. They were there to win. I was there to report. And it's kind of an interesting chemistry, isn't it? The reporter and the player. But I did it the way I had to do it, the only way for me. And but I would like to see some of these guys, man. Dozens and dozens of them.
We should get him on the pod then. Maybe that's how we evolve the Ty and Bob pod. Ty, Bob, and guest. Frank Winters remembered your old battles when we had him on the happy hour a few years back.
And I saw Frank in Chicago. I saw him at a restaurant when I was out with my son and his wife. Yeah, we saw Frank, and Frank came over. We had quite a chat for about 20 minutes. That was fun. And he said,
Great.
I remember all the shit you gave me, Bob. And I said, well, you deserve most of it, Frank. All right, Tyler, let's go to the Lions. Wide receivers. St. Brown, right. I mean, he kills linebackers and man. He kills zone coverages. He's got these stutter moves. Uh, the safety, Jordan Battle, is a good athlete. He's got him hemmed in, puts a move on the guy, gains an extra 7 on a screen. Simple turn in route on 3rd and 7, gains 9, 2 guys all over him. He's a north-south runner. He's a hell of a blocker. Boy, he is really good. Now, Jamison Williams, Tyler, one ball and all these weapons. So Jamison is out there for 51 snaps. He gets one target, catches it for 9 yards, and never gets another. He's a decoy. He gets people off of St. Brown and off of Laporta, obviously. And he cracks back, and he's a willing blocker, a good blocker. All right, so they lose Corey Raymond after 2 snaps with a neck injury on a punt return.
Khalif.
So that brings in Isaac Tesla. Tesla? Is that right, Tyler?
Mm-hmm.
Tesla, okay. 21 snaps. The touchdown was tight coverage by Taylor Britt on kind of a crossing route, and he hung on for a 12-yard touchdown. Nice play. Laporta, he hasn't had many catches. It wasn't his time in the barrel. Sunday it was. He runs an over route against the linebacker, Logan Wilson, gain of 23. It was too easy. Backers can't really cover him. Then he runs a flat against another backer, the big pass rushing guy, Joseph Osai. Touchdown, 10-yard. He vaults over Dax Hill at the goal line. Leaks out, kind of a la Tucker Kraft for a gain of 39. He blocked Dax Hill forever on Montgomery's touchdown. He's just a really good player. I mean, you talk about an embarrassment of riches now. Raymond has played well. Don't know how long he's out. They get the old 49er tight end, Ross Dwelly, to be their 3. They play a lot of tight ends. Laporta, 58, Brock Wright, 45, and Dwelly, 16. Dwelly, he had a good lead block on the linebacker Knight. And he's a smart veteran. It's hard to play tight end with all this shifting and movement, but he seems to fit in pretty well. Brock Wright, he got blistered by Hendrickson for a bad run. On the touchdown, he threw a jump pass out of a crazy formation, Wildcat, 3-yard touchdown. He's used as an I fullback. They don't have a fullback anymore, but they'll run ISOs with him. And then he gave up a bad sack to Trey Hendrickson, 3.2 seconds. All right, that's it on the receivers. I'll go to the O-line. Taylor Decker didn't play. So this is the first time we've seen Giovanni Manu. He is the 4th-round pick that they traded up 2 years ago to draft. He came from British Columbia, Canadian player. Canadian college football is not good, like almost Division III. So it's the first time I really saw Manu. He's their 3rd tackle. Dan Skipper is on practice squad, but Skipper could be up. Now, we don't know when Taylor Decker's coming back. He's had a shoulder injury. It's been a problem. They're just trying to massage it. But finally, Campbell said, we just can't afford this. It could just rupture into a season-ending thing. We've got to sit him down. So here's Manu. Tyler, it wasn't good. The guy is massive. Let's look at his height and weight. Now, I'm a little skittish about talking about offensive linemen negatively after the first week misadventure by yours truly out of Green Bay. He's 6'7" and 3/8, 3.52 coming out. He ran 5.07. This is why Brad Holmes traded up for the guy. Arms, great, 34 and 5/8. Hands, 10.5. Outstanding athlete, 33.5 vert. Not very strong, only 23 on the bench. All right, so what did we see? He's up against Hendrickson for much of the day, and that's a tough matchup, no question. But now, before we get into this guy, Johnny Morton and Dan Campbell did everything not to let Hendrickson bust this game up. I mean, They chipped, short dropbacks, ran the other way. I mean, they were just trying to protect this guy, but you can only do it so long. And then you got to stand and be counted. All right. He gave up a sack to Hendrickson in 2.4 seconds. I mean, he hardly laid a glove on him. That was a strip sack, Goff fumble, first lost fumble by the Lions this year. Um, he had a bad run. He was shoved aside by Chris Jenkins. He had a bad run. He missed Wilton. Where's my handwriting? Logan Wilson, the backer. He then gave up a sack later on to Joseph Osai in 2.8 when he lunged. In the run game, he's uncertain out there, Tyler. He ducks his head. He was too passive and uncertain. His body ended up in awkward positions. I mean, for this really good athlete, you know, it just wasn't good. And I don't know what they're going to do. Awasika might be able to play out there. And then they got Skipper on practice squad, but I don't know if they can come back with him. Now, the opposition won't be Trey Hendrickson every time. And he's going to get better. He has to get better, Hank Fraley. But so now they know what the baseline is. Can they get him to improve? He has to improve. I mean, if they don't, I don't know how long they're going to sit Decker, but he may not play Sunday night. Maybe they try to get to the bye. But this is a real problem for them. I mean, they could think about moving Sewell over there, but they still need a tackle. You know, when Green Bay's had those linemen injured, they played right through it without any big problem because they got 8 old linemen who can play. What do the Lions have? I don't know. We know they got 5. They got 6. Awasika played a couple times last year. He's okay. We don't know about Egakwan, the backup center. Whew. Okay, let's look at the other old lineman. Sewell gave up half a sack in one that he was involved with. I forgot who got the other half. Ratledge. Sewell, he just runs so well in front of screens, doesn't he? He just moves beautifully and does damage when he's out there. I'm really starting to appreciate him almost even more than I ever have before. All right, let's go to Ratledge. I've watched him a lot in these 5 games. He's really getting the hang of it right now. You know, he's willing to. He's able to strike. He tends to be an engulfer, but I shouldn't use that word. He's a hard hitter. He's got pop. And now he knows you have to let guys go, Tyler. You just can't finish in this league, right? You're going to get holding calls. You just cannot really finish. I guess the refereeing crew has something to do with that, what you can do. But he's letting guys go at the proper time, and it's like a veteran move. He's getting smart. It's taken him, this 5 games now, but there's been massive improvement. He gave up a hurry to B.J. Hill, a hurry to the ex-Packer T.J. Slaton, but he had a good game. Glasgow, the center, he's really had a good month after the opening embarrassment. He had one bad run. He missed Slaton on the goal line. He had a holding penalty when he tried to reach block our buddy Mike Pennell. Mike got him on the play. But Glasgow's really playing well. Boy, do they need him. They got to have him healthy. And then Mahogany. Mahogany's 6'3.5" compared to Ratledge 6'6.5". And, the more I see Mahogany, he's kind of a mean mother, Tyler. He had a bad run against the nose tackle McKinley Jackson. He had one bad run against Hill. But he is a pretty darn strong run blocker, this guy. All right, let's finish up the offense. Jared Goff. It's like he's never throwing a lousy ball right now. He's in a zone, man. What's his passer rating? 153.0. I mean, he's got a bad left tackle, and he had to step away from, the pressure on that blind side. He starts out 8 for 8, 103 and a touch. He has everything but legs, doesn't he? But yet he has pocket movement like Brady and Peyton Manning. He really does. He can avoid the rush. Right now, he is totally in command. play action. He's playing dominant football. He got the backside sack allowed by Manu. That was a strip sack. He lost the ball. Otherwise, they would have had an early 14-0 lead. Um, that's about it. Now the running backs, Gibbs 32, Montgomery 33 on his return to Cincinnati. Well, Gibbs had 14 touches for 87 and a touchdown. Montgomery 19 for 71 and a touchdown. Start with Gibbs. Oren Burks, the ex-Packers, out on that right flat. And there's a check down over there to Gibbs. And he just stops and starts on the guy. Instead of a 2-yard gain, it's 14. He hits a stone wall in the A gap later in the game. He's just so quick to see it and exploit it. If that guy on the edge doesn't honor his speed and doesn't play it honest, he will bounce his butt around that guy. And he picked up 7 or something. We've said this, he's small, but he lowers the shoulder. They line him up as a wide receiver now more. Johnny Morton is doing this. He's probably out there half a dozen times. So they throw him a bubble screen out there. Cincinnati had people, and Geno Stone, the safety, over pursues. Gibbs sees it. You got to break down, man, and keep your balance. You have no chance. That's why you cannot go after this guy. Stone, he just cuts. Stone goes flying by. Yeah. Accelerates down the sideline, 20-yard touchdown. He's one hell of a back. All right, and then Montgomery. 2nd and goal at the 3. They put him at Wildcat. The jump pass touchdown to Brock Wright. That was unreal. Remember my days? We had the jump pass, Tyler. Did you have that from under center? A little pop pass, we called it, against like a 7-diamond defense. Those two ends in tight, one backer in the middle. You jump up, a little pop pass for a gain of 8, right?
That was like my favorite throw. It was so easy. We'd go Delaware right, 2 pop 2 pass. So
yeah,
the 2 split receivers, we both do slants. The tight ends just did little pop passes, and I always kind of knew where I was going to go before the snap because you literally just take the ball and just pop it over.
Yeah, you didn't have to worry about the laces or nothing. Just pop it. It wouldn't work against a 4-4, man. Too many backers, 5-3. There was a bit of a hole. Everything was so static in those days, man.
Well, and I will say the play that haunts me to this day, we won our, and I'm going to sound like Uncle Rico, I apologize. We won our sectional final at Rich Stadium, Highmark Stadium now. We won that and then made it to regionals, which is the game before states, and we played there again. And it was against Oakfield, Alabama from the Rochester area. Big, corn-fed. They had to have been on steroids. I think they probably were. Just massive human beings in Class D football. And we lost, but when it was a game, we outgained them like crazy in the first half, but we drive the length of the field and we couldn't punch it in. And at the 1-yard line, 4th and goal, we called that 2 pop 2, and they did their film work, man. Their linebacker was up on the line. I took the snap. And I just threw it right to him, interception.
All right.
He took 1 step back and picked me off in the end zone. So thanks a lot, Bob, for conjuring a terrible memory there.
Montgomery bounced outside on his 8-yard touchdown. He played real well. Gibbs had a false start penalty. All right, that's it for the offense, Tyler. Johnny Morton. He's a good coach. He's doing a good job, and he's got talent galore.
The best sight in pro football going in 2025 is Penei Sewell in the open field. I can't be convinced otherwise. When he's just out there blocking in space or running around as this 350-pound animal, and you don't know what in the hell is going to happen. Like you're half his size as a DB, just praying that he doesn't bury you into the turf. Yeah, that was a glorious sight. I think he had a block. Was it a little like that screen on Amon-Ra St. Brown? He's out there, has a block, and he didn't get a second block. But he was looking to kill somebody.
Yeah. All right, the defense. Well, it's the backup quarterback. All right. Right now, even without Aleem McNeil, who's going to be back maybe this week, maybe next, he's fully practicing. They have 3 two-gapping defensive tackles they can depend on even before McNeil arrives. So and that's why their run stop is so good. What are they averaging? Their run defense, Tyler, I printed this out. They rank second at 77.5, fifth in yards per carry, 3.6. Sure wasn't like that last year. All right, the rookie Tyleik Williams only plays 21 snaps, 27 for Lopez and 39 for BJ Reader. Williams, he had another batted ball, and he holds the point. He will not buckle. He's a 3 technique in this system when Reader's on the field with him. He's been a pretty good pick. He's a first round pick. Now, maybe he's got pass rush. I don't know. But they got so many people. He's 21 snaps. They're keeping these guys fresh. All right. Reader played 39. That seems a little high, maybe because he was going back to play against his old team. But he is a 2-gapper deluxe. He's the 1 tech. He had a bull rush hurry on 4th and 3, forced an incompletion. Reader's playing really good ball. They don't make a lot of tackles, but that's why Campbell and Anzalone and Barnes are doing all this damage. The third guy's been a real surprise, Lopez, the guy they got from Arizona. Let's look at Lopez. Now, he's a sawed-off guy. 6'1.5", 302, 510. Short arms. They gave him 3.5 over 1 year in the offseason. He's been a good player. 27 snapped. He's short, but he's very stubborn. And then McNeil gives them the pass rush inside ability. I mean, when McNeil arrives, if he plays like he did last year, he's their second best pass rusher behind Hutchinson. So that is huge for this defense. All right, other people. At the end opposite Hutchinson, I call it the big end, I guess. Pascal would be the starter, and he's at least a month away, I'm guessing. They start Pat O'Connor there. He plays 11 snaps. He's from Eastern Michigan, for heaven's sakes. I love my Hurons, Eagles, and I go over there about 10 miles away. O'Connor, 11 snaps. Tyler, I mean, he's a nothing burger on paper or anything, but again, he gives you heart and hustle, man, and meanness. I mean, he'll trash people, and that's the same as this Lacey guy. They got on waivers from the Jaguars, number 78, Tyler Lacey. He plays 14 snaps. He's 290. He plays that, and he also can play 3 tech, which I think surprised the Lions. Now, he's a tough guy. You just watch him for 10 minutes, 10 plays. He's a tough guy. I can see why they wanted this guy. Their pro personnel department knows exactly what Campbell wants and what Shepard wants for that position. He's stout. He's tough. He sheds people. He doesn't give a damn. He just plays hard, and he's got some ability. That's what they want. Nowaski then, on the second play of the game, he's the guy from where Saginaw Valley State in the GLIAC here, the D2 league. He comes in for O'Connor on 2nd and 10, second play of the game. All right, Nowaski. He's a little smaller, but he's the exact same kind of guy. Nowaski is 6'2.5", 237. Well, he's bigger than that now. He ran 4.50 coming out of college. Yeah, Sag Valley State. He's got short arms, 30 and a quarter. Again, the guy's in there. He's a little better rusher than O'Connor, and maybe not quite as good as O'Connor against the run. That's why he's on the field. Nowaski plays hard, man. All right, now let's go to outside. Muhammad and Hutchinson on passing down. Sometimes Muhammad goes inside. Muhammad in this game comes off the big Orlando Brown, made a tackle, gained a 2, and then he's got 3 knockdowns, one on a late chase, one on an in move against the rookie guard, Jalen Rivers, and another, he got matched up against the tight end, Mike Gesicki, and that was easy. So Muhammad's been a real hard player, plays the same way as everybody we're talking about, gives great effort, take no prisoners, offer no quarter. I mean, he's just playing hard, man. And then Hutchinson, now he had a tough matchup. Every one of these games that he's played this year, he starts a little slow. He's feeling guys out. The lineman is fresh. The lineman has studied him all week long on tape. And Hutchinson, he kind of just wears him down. He's in such great condition, and it means so much to him that he just applies this nonstop pressure, constant. play after play, double teams, chipping, doesn't care. And Brown was knocking him around. I mean, Brown is 6'8", 350. We know him. All right, so let's look at the production. He lost a sack on a spin move against the right tackle, Amarius Mims, because Hutchinson lined off sides. -1 for Hutchinson. He lost a sack safety, 3.7 against Ratledge's guard partner at Georgia, Dylan Fairchild. That was nullified by penalty. Then he got a run stuff. He beat a tight end trying to pull at him, a gain of 1. Then he started going. He got a knockdown against Mims. He beat Orlando Brown up the corner on a flea flicker, forced a fumble, 3.3. And he got another knockdown against Brown. He was credited with 5 knockdowns. So he just plays the way he always plays, good. All
Does he
right.
remind you of anybody? Aiden Hutchinson?
Well, I keep thinking, to myself when I'm watching these games, who would you rather have, Hutchinson or Parsons? I don't know Hutchinson. I don't know Parsons, but I've saw Hutchinson's entire career at Michigan, and I've said this before. Michigan was a lost program really when he got there during the pandemic. And I saw enough interviews with him and his teammates and coaches, his impact in that locker room, turning that program around to winning, beating the Buckeyes 4 in a row, winning 3 Big Tens in a row. They were not anywhere. They were like 7th, 8th best in the Big Ten at that point. His force of personality, his drive to win, it's unquenchable. I mean, I've seen that at college, and I think he's brought that same thing here. So I can't evaluate Parsons yet. I saw him periodically his first 4 years in Dallas, and I've seen his first 2 games here. But boy, to think anybody's better than Hutchinson right now. And he doesn't have Gary on the other side either. Or even, and Agabari's not no slouch either. And Van Ness is not a slouch. Hutchinson's really going it alone.
Yeah.
Am
Well said.
I overrating Hutchinson, Tyler?
I mean, you're watching the game with a sharper eye for pass rushing talent than myself, but I'm just blown away by that relentlessness late in a game. You just nailed it when everybody is on E or close to it, struggling out there, just trying to survive the play. It looks like it's his first play of the game. And he can wreck it. I mean, that's what it's about. You touched on it with Parsons a week ago in that Dallas game where you pay these guys to make those game-winning plays, and that's what Aiden Hutchinson does consistently. So, yeah, a healthy Aiden Hutchinson defensively is a complete game changer for the 2025 Lions versus the 2024 variety.
So Tyler, he played 58 of 62 snaps. Why? It's too much. I mean, Shepard, Hass, and Campbell just have to say, not 90%. We got to get you to 70, 75% in these games that are out of reach. Numbers are not that important. He's going to get this massive deal no matter whether he's got 10 sacks or 18. Really, Tyler, he's going to get that in the next couple months or in the offseason. They can't afford to lose this guy.
Yeah.
You are more susceptible to injury when you're tired. I mean, God knows with their schedule coming up, he's going to have to play virtually every snap week after week. When you got a breather, get him out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I agree.
So let's go to the linebackers. Anzalone, he's had kind of a slow start to his season. Boy, he really showed he could play. He played all 62 snaps. They can play so much base because he can walk out in the slot and he can cover tight ends and he can do some things with slow wideouts. I mean, in zone, he can anyway. And he's just a tremendous cover linebacker. He's got to be as good as there is in the entire league. And they play a ton of man here, just like Aaron Glenn did. Well, Shepard's doing the same thing. 3rd and 4, he breaks up a pass to the running back Chase Brown. Makes the zone drop and makes an interception on Jake Browning. Made a fine catch, set up a touchdown. 3rd and 3, they threw an out to Gesicki, broke it up. and then he drew a pass interference on 4th and 3. He grabbed somebody on a wheel route when he was in press coverage. Now he's better in coverage than Jack Campbell. Jack's a little better than him against the run, but it works out. You got Barnes on the strong side. Sometimes he'll have to put his hand down and play opposite Hutchinson. That happens 5, 6 times every game. All right, let's go to Campbell. Again, he played all 62. Now, okay, he's 6'5", and he has a little problems in space. They throw a ball out in the flat to Chase Brown. Campbell overruns it. Extra 8. That'll happen to him. He gets a big bear hug. He's so big, and he bear hugs Brown on a tackle, gain of 2. A cross blitz inside. He had a flush on a blitz. Diagnosed a screen, made the tackle, -3. Stuffed Jalen Rivers on a pull, gain of 1. Got a hurry on a blitz. In pursuit, forced a fumble, knocked the thing out. I mean, that's really a productive, great day. Barnes played 58 snaps. Trashed a wide receiver trying to block him on a bubble and threw down that Isavias, gain of 1. Missed a tackle. He lost the edge one time, gain of 10. I think Shepard was going ape on the sidelines, going crazy over there. Barnes is just kind of a sledgehammer, when he hits people, they're just down, and they're down really fast. It's just over. He has that explosion in his body. I'm trying to think of a comparable in Green Bay in my years. Nick Barnett had a little bit of that, but Barnes is just lights out. And then he had a sack safety, beat Fairchild on a blitz and 2.6 sack on a safety. Okay, that's it on the backers. We'll go to the secondary. All right, that's the big problem. You got Decker at left tackle is their problem. Now they go to Kansas City, and they don't know what in the hell they're going to have at cornerback. Last year, the injuries stacked up primarily on the defensive line. This year, it's at cornerback. So Arnold, there were reports that Terry and Arnold, the corner, would be out for the year with a recurring shoulder. But now there's stuff out today where they think he could come back even in October this month. So the Lions are keeping their fingers crossed. They've already lost their best corner, DJ Reed. He's on IR indefinitely with a hamstring. They lost, Arnold. Khalil Dorsey wrecked his wrist in practice last week. He's out indefinitely. Rakestraw, the second round pick last year, I think so. He would have been the third corner. He's on IR. He's out for the year. So their starter now opposite, Robertson, the nickel, is starting. He's their best corner. Now, I really like him, but let's look at his dimensions, Tyler. Robertson is Meek, 5'8.5", 187. Got good arm length. All right, he's really a feisty, good corner, just like Reed is. Reed is 5'9", and Maddox is going to have to play. He's 5'9". They have about the shortest corners in the league. If Arnold's out, Arnold's 5'11.5". So they play Rock Ya-Sin. So this week, the assumption is Robertson and Ya-Sin will start. Now let's look at Ya-Sin. He was a second-round pick by the Colts in 2019. He is 5'11.5", 191, ran 4.52. He's really smart. 31 on the test. 39.5 vert. Great arm length, 32. He's quick. So he's been with 5 teams, Tyler. Yep, this is his 5th team. He started 39 of 84 games. He's only got 2 picks. Is he good enough to hold up as a starter? Well, they were in the NFC title game with Kindle Vildor, if you'll remember, 2 years ago. He's about like that. He played good in this game in his 29 snaps. T. Higgins on a blitz, man coverage. He had Higgins deep. Well-thrown ball by Browning. He broke it up. Nice play. He broke up a slant to Higgins. Boy, I thought, wow, that was a hell of a play. He made a big hit coming up to tackle Chase Brown. He's their guy. They got to coach him up, man. So then you got Maddox, who's been around with the Eagles. He's kind of a nickelback safety. So figure he goes into nickel this week. And then the fourth corner could be Trey Flowers, the 6'3" guy who used to be with the Seahawks, and Pete Carroll in that cover three stuff. He's not even on the active. He played 9 as a standard elevation in this game. Whew. Boy, so that's a problem. They got to get McNeil back, and the rush has got to help the back end, just like the back end helped the rush last year. Safeties, Branch was fine. Nothing really there. Kirby Joseph came a long way from center field on a bomb. High pointed it, made another leaping pick. Special teams, Bates has struggled with this new kickoff system. He was much better. He kicked 6 times, 0 touchbacks. That's the key nowadays. And I think only one of them was a return as far as the 30. And Fox is hitting the ball much better than he did early in the year. 5 punts, 44.8, net of 43.6, 4 inside the 20, average hang 4.3. Nowoski had 2 big hits on special teams. Tesla is an excellent gunner. They had Harper recovered an onside kick. Grant Stewart had an illegal block on a punt return. Bates never kicked a field goal and hit all his points. That's it for the Lions, Tyler.
Difficult gauge, in my opinion, given Jake Browning throwing YOLO balls all 4 quarters, which was disheartening as a Jake Browning truther back to 2023. I don't know what in the hell's going on. I mean, he is just lollipopping him up there. What about the deep ball? I mean, T. Higgins, I mean, pick your interception, pick your bad throw. The one where if he just leads him to the post, it's probably a touchdown or a big play, and he kind of hangs it vertically. Had a lot of like high and outside throws. The other interception on the left sideline could have given Jamar Chase a chance there. Then obviously Anzalone. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I thought he would be serviceable, get him to 7-4 while Joe Burrow's out. And to their credit, at least they're trying to salvage the season, trading for Joe Flacco today. We'll see what Flacco can bring him. He'll at least chuck it deep. Not that mobile behind that offensive line. Last ditch effort there from Cincinnati.
He beat the pack, didn't he, Tyler? Joe
Beat Green
Flacco.
Bay.
Yeah.
Exactly. Green Bay gets to face Joe Flacco again.
It could be.
Yeah,
This week,
they are.
yeah.
Yeah.
They might start him.
Why not?
Yeah.
All right, let's move it along.
I didn't touch. I mentioned Robertson, but let's go through his day. He made a crisp open field tackle on Brown. One of the bad throws by Browning, the sideline pick. He ran that out route for Jamar Chase, led to a touchdown. Then he bit on the slant and go. He started feeling his oats, got greedy, and Chase burned his butt for a 64-yard touchdown. And then he gave a 2-yard touchdown on an out to Higgins. He was too soft on the play. All right, that's it on the Lions. Now we got the next game. One more game in the North, right, Tyler?
Let's do it.
We got Minnesota 21, Cleveland 17 at Tottenham Hotspur. Michael Cohen I think, has been to that venue. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium before a crowd of 61,082. So the Vikes go to 3-2, Tyler. They're hanging in there, aren't they?
It was not an enjoyable game to watch. I'll just say that.
I agree.
I mean, talk as much as you want about it, but pretty will not be remembered in history.
So 2 in a row in Europe, right? The league wants to have a team over there, don't they? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. They'll have a game every Sunday morning next year, I would think. Make it a staple.
Before I forget, I want to say one thing about Denzel Ward. Now, he, on the winning touchdown pass, it looked like he was trying to bait old Carson Wentz. So he's got to take his medicine on that one. But prior to that, I've seen the Browns 3 games in a row now. Green Bay, Detroit, and Minnesota. Yeah, I've seen him 3 games in a row. God darn it, is he good? He can cover. He makes these knifing tackles. He's got swag. He's a great corner, isn't he? Wow. Yeah. Holy man.
What a shame to have the best pass rusher in football, maybe the best non-quarterback in football, and Myles Garrett, maybe the best cornerback in football, and Denzel Ward, a guy like Grant Delpit, who we wrote about during the summer, Mason Graham now up front, the linebacker out of UCLA, Carson
Question your
Schwessinger, he's playing out of his mind. They've got a defense, but it doesn't matter. They're constantly playing on short fields against the eight ball. I mean, maybe Dylan Gabriel, I don't know, salvages the season and gives them somewhat of a spark on offense. But it is just sad to watch a top five, maybe top three defense. For what? For who? For what? As Ricky
for
Waters
Jimmy
once said.
Haslam. They're playing for Jimmy. Flying J, truck owner, huh? Truck
Oh,
stop.
yeah.
Oh golly. Yeah, you're right. And Malik Collins, three games in a row now. He's playing really good football. And Newsom's a darn good corner too. You're right, Tyler. They got some people there. Alex Wright's an interesting edge guy. Shelby Harris, the old Milwaukee guy, he's pretty good backup. And McGuire, the other end opposite Collins, I like him too, Tyler. They
Hmm.
don't have really almost, I don't think they have a bad starter on defense. Wow, but their offense is brutal. Okay. So the Vikings. All right. It was all about surviving this offensive line situation. Now, when we're belaboring the Lions, oh my God, the poor Lions playing down one starter on the old line, oh good heavens, they lost their left tackle. Well, that's on Brad Holmes and the line coach. Field, they got to get that thing squared away, the backups. That's ridiculous. They got bad depth, man. All right, the Vikings. So they start the game down 3 starting linemen, Jackson, Kelly, and O'Neill. The backup center, Jurgens, inactive with injury. And then in the fourth quarter, they decide to sit Darisaw because he's played too many snaps at 41. They don't want to overtax his post-surgical knee. So for the fourth quarter, they're down five guys, and they won this game against that defense. I mean, it's really a tribute to Wentz and the coach O'Connell. He wins these close games like nobody else wins these games. Sitting over in Europe for 12 days, whatever it was, I don't know. And Chris Cooper, the O-line coach, man, he patched that thing together. They had a good game plan. Wentz got sacked 3 times. His rating was 102.1. They got it done. They ran for 97. They don't have Aaron Jones, but they won the game. Why did they win the game? Really, Justin Jefferson was fantastic, Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know wideouts need the ball. They need a QB to have impact, right? But this guy's as close to being able to do it by himself as any wideout almost has ever been. Okay, so let's look at Jefferson Day. He plays all 65 snaps. No wideouts do that. They're tired. They run these bombs. He's running all day long. They take a powder. They ask out a couple plays, 1 snap. Not him. 3rd and 7. He runs a speed out against man coverage by the nickelback Miles Harden. Makes a great cut to free himself to the sideline. Gain of 15. Jefferson, Tyler, he runs hard after the catch. He's not just some sleek guy, man. He really brings it. That's really impressive. How big is he? 6'1", 202, ran 4.47. The numbers are meaningless. The guy just can play. They put him over opposite Greg Newsome more than Denzel Ward an awful lot of this game till the end. Then they didn't care. High sideline against tight coverage by Newsom, makes the catch, gain of 21. 3rd and 10. The Vikings have nothing going now in the fourth quarter. Makes this fabulous catch with two guys all over him on a seam route for 38. And then press man against Ward. They throw a back shoulder to him with 129 left. Ward's just on him, gain of 21. These are big catches, big plays. He catches 7 of 11 targets, 123, 17.6. It was unreal. The impact of a wideout was never more indelible to me than that. All right, Addison. So he misses a walkthrough over in Europe. And so they bench him in the first quarter, play sparingly in the second. Then he starts to get in the third quarter. He had a crackback on Delpit, really nice. I was surprised. I didn't think he would block like that. The running play was worth 14. He's only 5'11", 170 coming out, but he's willing to crack. I didn't think he had that in him. On an out, showed really nice hands, gain of 5. And then the winning touchdown, 12 yards against a zone. I mean, it was a better throw than catch, but both were pretty great. Addison helps him. Naylor, I like the guy. He's a threat on a reverse, gain of 15. He doesn't seem to complain, doesn't seem to quit. I mean, he runs his routes hard. He's got, he can take the top off the defense. He helps Jefferson. He's a good 3. They've had some good threes there over the years. Now, Adam Thielen, how many snaps for him? 14. Never had a target. Okay, the tight end, Hawkinson. I mean, the guy's doing a lot of pass blocking in this game. It's kind of thankless duty, but they had to try to control this rush, primarily Myles Garrett. He caught 6 out of 6 balls, leak outs mostly, dump offs, gained 38. Boy, he got killed on a 3rd and 1 at the point of attack by McGuire, that interesting defensive end, -3. I mean, he got drilled. But he runs clever routes, played 55 snaps. Oliver, the blocking tight end, had a neutral zone penalty. And then on that option pass from Akers, he got free for a 32-yard touchdown. So let's go to their offensive line. They had to hold up. I didn't know if they'd win this game when the inactives came out. They started left to right. Christian Darrisaw, Joe Huber, Blake Brandel, Will Fries, and Justin School at right. Okay. Brandel had never played center before. So he's probably been taking snaps there for 2 or 3 weeks since Kelly had his concussion. I thought he was a natural. Now, he's the ex-49er starter. He started at left guard last year for the Vikings. He looked like a natural. He had no bad snaps, one low, but nothing catastrophic. He had one holding penalty, wiped out a 47-yard pass. That was against Mason Graham. Mason Graham, by the way, had a really down afternoon. He didn't get much done at all. Brandel had half a bad run against Harrison McGuire, led to a fumble, but he played good. All right, let's go to Fries, the gigantic right guard. Came from the Colts. They paid the guy. Fries, 6'6.5", 309. They gave him 34 guaranteed, 587.7. It's a lot of change. Fries, in space, you look at him, he's kind of a short stepper. He's kind of stiff out there. And in line as a run blocker, he reminds me of Ron Hallstrom. You know that name, Tyler?
Oh, yeah.
Ron was 6'6.5" too, just like this guy. Ronnie Hallstrom, first round pick in '82, started for the Packers about 7-8 years in the '80s. He engulfed guys. That was the word I used all that time. He engulfed, and that's what Fries does. You got to worry about penalties with the guy. He's not a striker. He's an engulfer, and he played good in this game. He really took care of Graham on a running play, 19. He had a nice trap on Malik Collins, gain of 7. I mean, he was nimble enough to come over and trap. He got two guys on a 3-yard touchdown run by somebody, Mason, I think. Fries, they needed him. He was the one returning, or one starter really that played the distance. He did well. Darisaw, um, he was battling Garrett. He had a lot of help. He cut Garrett once on a pass that went the other way. He gave one hurry on an up to Garrett, and then he sat out in the fourth, and School moved to left tackle, and Walter Rouse played right tackle. Walter Rouse, 24 snaps, second-year guy from Oklahoma, I believe, played pretty darn good. And School really had a good game after being terrible the first couple of weeks. He gave up one sack to Wright and 2.4 on a pump and go, but he played good. Now let's go to Huber. Huber's the undrafted rookie from Wisconsin. I forget. I believe he played tackle there, but don't hold me to it. Undrafted, 6'5", 311, 524. All the Badger fans know this guy. Arm, not good, 32 and a quarter. Average athlete. Good strength, 26 on the bench. That's more than most Wisconsin prospects. All right, so Huber in this game. He's got to start at guard. He's playing against, an outstanding combination in Collins, Graham, and then Shelby Harris off the bench. And you know that Aiden Huntington's not terrible either. So let's look at Huber. All right, he had a false start on a hard count. He had a bad run. He didn't get to Schwessinger. He had half a bad run that caused a fumble. His holding penalty wiped out a 19-yard run, and that was against Schwessinger on a combo block. But and he gave up a sack to Collins on a spin move in 2.8. So we're talking about four or five bad plays, but I don't care. It wasn't a disaster. There's hope for the guy. That's a hell of a free agent signing, and he held up, and he deserves to hold his head high. They won the game with him on the field the whole game, and he played pretty good. All right, let's go to Wentz. He's really a good ball handler, Tyler. His fakes, impressive. He got the ball up pretty fast in this game, and that was drilled all week against the Browns. He and Jim Schwartz coached D coordinator in Philly, his first 5 years in Philly. So they knew each other intimately, and I think that contributed to the way that this game played out. All right, what about Wentz? He showed talent moving to his left, threw a pass on the move to his left, gain of 18. He threw a bad ball high to Jefferson. He had a nice scramble, and he completed a 47-yard pass to Naylor, brought back by penalty. 3rd and 6, scramble, made Schwessinger miss, gained 5. He's kind of hard to sack. Now, he holds the ball a long time, but he has a kind of a sixth sense. He can wiggle out of trouble. Then he got popped on the left shoulder by Schwessinger late in the first half. Kind of a reckless move on his part. And now there's some question whether he's going to start this week. I don't know who they play. All right, there was a screen in the second half. He threw a terrible pass in the dirt. He was lucky not to get picked off when he locked on Addison on a curl. But rushers were coming free a lot at him, man, and he was getting the ball out. That was impressive. On the winning drive, he made a great touchdown toss. Small window, he fitted over Ward, who was looking for the pick. Won the game. They won the thing. He had to drive the 80 yards in 3:05 with one timeout, and he got it done, and they won the game 21-17. And the Vikings can be really happy they got the guy. Running backs, without Aaron Jones, you got Mason, 43, and the rookie Scott, second-year guy Scott, 14. Mason, he sees the cutbacks, and he can finish runs. He's got good speed, and he's tough as hell. He lost a fumble on the way down. He got punched out. That led to a touchdown for the Browns. And he had a 3-yard touchdown. All right, Scott, trap play inside. He hit it really fast. He's a tall guy, but he hit it fast, gain of 7. On a naked pitch, he was fast enough to get north and south, gain 9, and then he lost a fumble. Mason also lost a fumble. All right, that's it. Oh, and Akers played one snap. He had been with O'Connell out in LA. One snap, he was in as a Wildcat running back, option pass, threw it, perfect pass, spiral 32 yards for a touchdown to Oliver. And that was it. Apparently, he did a bunch of passing at Florida State. That's it for the O, Tyler.
I can't wait to see Aaron Jones in this offense, whenever that is. Still on IR, but eventually he'll be in the mix. It'll be fun. We all like Aaron Jones.
Yep.
And of course, we could have led this whole podcast with JJ McCarthy, but let's just wait and see what happens to our quarterback and what he looks like. That is going to be a theme of the Ty and Bob pod, the Minnesota Vikings quarterback decisions.
And we saw what Darnold did this week in the loss to Tampa Bay.
I'm biting my tongue. Yes, that's what
Yep.
I'm inferring. He
Yep.
he and Baker Mayfield put on a show. I think I heard it described as a game of horse. That's really what it felt like. Just trick shot after trick shot, both guys just going back and forth. You had him in your building. We were singing his praises all pod, but at the end, I think we both flipped. He was so bad those last two games. And those are the games that matter most. Let's
They
let it play
do.
out. Let's let it all play out.
All right. The Vike defense is up against the rookie QB, the rookie running back Judkins. Boy, he could be rookie of the year, huh? If he gets any help. They don't have Tillman. He goes to IR, so there's really only one wideout, Jerry Jeudy. So you're up against a pretty shaky and one backup left, the backup left tackle, KT Leviston. All right, the front for Minnesota. What's interesting? Redmond 41, Rodriguez 37, Hargrave 33, Allen 48, and did I say Ingram 27? I think so. Okay. Let's go to Hargrave. He plays 33. I don't know, Tyler. I mean, I saw him enough over the years to really like what I was seeing in Pittsburgh, and he may have been somewhere else. But again, they gave him 2 years, 30 mil. He's 6'1 and a half, 305. He's playing nose on base downs. He's getting shoved around. He had one tackle for loss at the end against Wyatt Teller. It was a hell of a play, and it's one of the few times he's really made a play in the run game. All right, let's go to Jonathan Allen. He got the big money. Now, he's more active than Hargrave, and he's stronger than Hargrave, and he's a better player than Hargrave. 3rd and 1, he stuffed Ethan Posick to center, no gain. He had another stuff on the goal line, gain of 1. He penetrates. At times, they run behind his penetration like teams were doing off of his penetration, like teams were doing to Kenny Clark last year in Green Bay. I don't know really what Flores wants on that. Maybe they're coaching that. I'm not sure. All right, Jalen Redmond, the 2nd-year guy. He had a batted ball. He's a good player. Rodriguez. Now, as you know, they got rid of Harrison Phillips, Bullard, and Tillery, and now they got these 3 guys. This bunch is younger and quicker. Is it better? I'm not sure yet. Rodriguez had a run stuff for no gain. He was unblocked, made a tackle, -4. Then he got whipped in the point of attack. He was on the ground, 3rd quarter. All right, and Ingram Dawkins, the rookie, he unblocked. Leviston froze. He didn't block Ingram Dawkins. Sack and 2.8. It's kind of funny seeing a team, the opponent, the Browns, 3 times. I kind of have a better feel now for evaluating the Vikings. All right, let's go to the edge. Turner, 65 of 70. Grenard, 66. They really miss Van Ginkel with this neck concussion, whatever it is. All right, now Turner, the 2nd-round pick. Let's look again at his numbers. From Alabama, 6'2 and a half, 256. Boy, he doesn't play that big. He ran 4.43. 3rd-year junior, so he's young. Vert, 40 and a half. arms, 34 and 3/8. That's why he was drafted so high. But some people didn't like his energy. Some people didn't like him against the run. I see him right now, Tyler, is kind of lost out there, a step or two late. Whether that's to the flat, whether it's rushing against the run. He doesn't fight pressure in the pass rush. He kind of accepts it when he gets blocked. He'll give up the edge. Judkins had a 15-yard run outside him. He made a great play when Dylan Gabriel kept on his own read -3. I don't know. They need a lot more. They need Van Ginkel and they need more out of Turner because Grenard on the other side is getting all the attention. Now he had a slow start. He missed a tackle on his, can't read my writing. Ford had the ball. Oh, on his own drop or something. He had a hurry and up against Leviston, the backup tackle. He had a hurry up against Leviston. He had a knockdown unblocked. He flattened, made a play on 3rd and 1. He had a hurry against the tight end Njoku. He had a flush on an in on a stunt, which led to a sack by Pace. And he had a run stuff, got a holding penalty on Leviston. All that basically was in the second half. He's a hell of a player, but they need more. They just can't do it with one rusher. Richter, the backup, played 9 snaps. They have no depth. They missed Pat Jones out there too. Obviously, they missed Danielle Hunter, but they just, Okay, let's go to the inside backers. Pace played 48, and Wilson played all 70. Eric Wilson, who's rejoined the Vikings this year. Let's start with Pace. When he blitzes, and he blitzes a lot, he gets on people so fast, especially the offensive lineman, if not the QB. I mean, Ford, the running back, tried to pick him up, Jerome Ford. Oh, and he just got knocked on his backside just because Pace, the little guy, got there so quick, and he is an explosive little guy. Judkins had a hell of a game here. He had 110 yards, 4.8. And here comes Pace one time, just makes this knifing tackle. Nobody was bringing Judkins down solo in this game. He did it there, gain of 3. He shed Wyatt Teller in the red zone, made a big hit, no gain. I mean, Pace can make these big plays. Then he goes and he misses Judkins, ruptures into 14. He gets hurdled by Njoku, not good look on the sideline. All right, we've talked a lot about Pace. Let's go to Wilson. We liked him in Green Bay last year as the backup, who played quite a bit. He strung out Judkins on the outside, gain of 1. He fought off 2 blocks on the play. He got beat by Harold Fannin on the tight end out in the flat on a 1-yard touchdown. He was late to the flat and man coverage. Judkins on a boot, gain of 18. And he had a run stuff inside, gain of 0. Let's go to the secondary. So Murphy plays them all, 69. Rogers, 67. Okuda, 20. So, Metellus plays all 70. In the All NFC North team last year, we used Metellus. We considered him as the nickel guy. Well, now he's more of the safety. They need Metellus. Obviously, he's the brains of the outfit, plays every snap. If he gets hurt, it's trouble. But secondary is not playing that good right now. Rogers, I mean, he's solid as heck. Dylan Gabriel didn't have a challenge. He gave up a 50-50 ball into Njoku, but other than that, he didn't give up anything, and he will hit. Murphy, he got blocked forever one time, lost the sideline, gain of 32 by Judkins. He had a fine breakup, man covering the end zone against Bond. 3rd and 6, Judy ran a slot out on him for 9, first down. 4th and 1, he got run over by Judkins, gain of 2. I mean, he made a solid low hit, but he couldn't stop Judkins. And then 8-yard touchdown on Njoku. He got out muscle for the ball, and that was that a touchdown to Njoku? Yeah. All right, so Murphy's their best corner. He hasn't had a great year yet. Okuda played 20. He's been okay. Fannin, hard guy to cover. We know that coming out of Bowling Green. 3rd and 4, he runs a hook against Acuna, gain of 5. All right, safety's been interesting. Tyler, they're playing Jackson. Theo Jackson now is the starter. He played all 70 snaps. Metellus played all 70. And Harrison Smith, the old legend, 29. 29. Jackson took a bad angle, missed Judkins on that 32-yarder. He's slow. He couldn't catch Judkins from behind. He gave up the outside on a run by Judkins for 15. Metellus, he got run over. Judkins ran him over, extra 5. Took a terrible angle on Judkins' 56-yard touchdown that was brought back by penalty. And he had a great man break up against Njoku. Harrison Smith, I can remember sitting at, what is it, TCF Stadium in Minnesota, Tyler. Remember when they had to play there 2 years? You were
Oh
there,
yeah.
right? Yeah. And I remember I kept my eyes on Harrison Smith a lot. And the cat and mouse game, he was playing with Aaron Rodgers that day. Remember him back and forth. That was Mike Zimmer's defense. And he was just so clever. And he's still doing that. And he made a fine tackle of Gabriel on a scramble 3rd and 10, saved a first down, gain of 8. But we've seen it in a couple games here recently. He doesn't run like he used to. What was his initial 40 time 15 years ago or 13? He ran 4.57. So he wasn't fast on the watch to begin with. He was a former linebacker in college. And but he's so aware, and he had a great career. He's 6'2", 214. But all things come to an end. I'm sure it's his last year. Okay, the special teams. Now we got to discuss this Rijkaard field goal, Tyler. 51 yards. They're down by 3 with 9:41 left in the game. And he misses this thing wide right. And it looked like a screwball moving left to right. I equate that. I call it a screwball because that's a pitch that we used to see in baseball. Boy, I'm dating myself. 50 years ago, it would move inside. Right-handed pitcher would throw, and it would tail inside to a right-hand batter. Now, this thing hit one of those camera wires, right, or a guy wire or something on these drones. Are you kidding me? This could have cost the game. Those got to go. They've got to go. As great as it is for us 5-6 times each week on a broadcast, telecast, they got to go. Tyler?
It's insanity. No, I agree. It's typical NFL, right? Just poisoning their own beautiful product in maddening ways each week. Yeah, I don't know. Did they even issue an apology? Is there any that's what's hilarious. There's never really accountability when the league itself screws up anything.
That's amazing. And then there was another one, right? This week, somebody threw a pass, Stafford,
Yeah, yeah.
and it hit some camera device or something.
Hmm.
Okay. Wright, the punter, five punts. This guy has vastly improved this year. 57.2, 51.0 net, 4.50, 2 inside the 20. He's really good. They had 3 holding penalties on special teams, 2 on the linebacker, Kobe King, and 1 on the wide receiver, Ty Felton. That ain't good. All right, so Rijkaard missed a field goal for no reason at all. That's it on the Vikes. They're in there. It's the only division without a team with a losing record, Tyler. The Bears are in the cellar at 2-2, right? Yeah.
Bears Commanders Monday night should be an interesting watch. Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels. Green Bay faces old Smoking Joe Flacco on the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't know what I saw the line at one point. It was 16 and a half. It'll be a whopper. All right, let's get right to your memory, Bob. What do you have for us?
All right. So in my career covering the Packers, I saw the Bengals 5 times, 4 times in Green Bay, 80, 92, 95, and 09. Yeah. So I couldn't help myself. We're going to center on this game, right, Tyler?
Look at that. Favre strong arms the Bengals. 1992 helmet hoisted in the Lambeau sky. An
Yep.
iconic touchdown to Kitcher Taylor. I'm glad. Hey, why not? Sometimes you got to play the hits. I want to hear what you have to say on this.
So I haven't dug into these things, but I did today. So I got the play-by-play from this tilt, Tyler,
Look at that. Wow.
and I got my own play-by-play. Always the legal seats
Ah,
every year,
look
every
at
game I
that.
ever covered. Right?
Wow. Yellow
This
legal
is
pad,
it's one of the
smattered in
best games.
notes. Your
One of the
font
best.
hasn't changed at all. It looks the
No,
same.
my writing was a hell of a lot better then than it is now.
You'll
I'll
be able
say
to read your
that.
notes better from the 92 notes than today.
Yes. 70 degrees, 54% humidity, wind out of the southwest at 15. Who would have been the press box announcer giving that data before kickoff? That might have been uh, uh, Sean Mulhern, maybe from the Green Bay radio station W 1440. I can't remember the call letters, damn it. Or it could have been Gary Knaffel. No, he was the outside announcer. Might have been Mulhern. Yeah, it could have been. All right. The Bengals come in 2-0 under Mike Shula, the head man. Ron Lynn is their defensive coordinator, a really good coach. Ron Meeks is their DB coach. He had a long career in the NFL. 70 degrees, 57,000 at Lambeau. Green Bay's a 1-point dog. Green Bay's 0-2. Mike Holmgren. They would finish 9-7. Shula would finish 5-11. All right, let's get to this game. So the week before, they got obliterated at Tampa Bay in Mike Holmgren's second game. I mean, it was one of the worst beatings Holmgren ever suffered. They got beat 31-3 down there at the Big Sombrero in 90 degrees. Mikowski got benched at halftime because they were so out of it, and they played Favre, Mr. Brett Favre, in his second year, and he was awful. So that week, Tim Krumrie, the ex-Badger, was on a conference call with Wisconsin reporters on Wednesday. Remember how they used to do that? He was the Bengal nose tackle. And Krumrie was a standout at Mondovi High School in Wisconsin before becoming a Badger. And once again, he's done this many times in his great Pro Bowl career. He's a terrific player. Krumrie pointed out that in the 10th round of 1983, that his home state team, the Green Bay Packers, selected a basketball player from Indiana, guard Jimmy Thomas, in the 10th round, 5 picks before the Bengals took him. Thomas never signed with Green Bay. Krumrie said, I've been motivated since the Packers took the basketball player and not me. The press and my friends bring that up more than I do. I just like to get in a little dig now and then. Holmgren repeated now, the day after the Buck game, that Don Mikowski was still his starting quarterback. Okay? Mikowski said he was in the locker room after the Buck game. He was upset he was pulled, but the two talked on the plane ride coming back from Tampa Sunday night. Everything is okay, the big Swede said. All right, so now we're going to get into this game. So let's look at the notes. The second series, 3rd and 7 on the Pack 39. Krumrie sacks the Magic Man, -8. It was out of a three wide set. God, I was writing everything down at that point. And down he went with ankle ligament damage. So in comes Mr. Brett Lorenzo Favre. So they punt the ball, and 2 plays later, Johnny Holland makes a pick. So the Packs got the ball right back again. First down at the Bengal 45. This was a fire drill of all fire drills, Tyler. he made Green Bay had 7 fumbles in this game. Favre had 5. He had no idea what he was doing. And Chris Jackie, they get down to the 14. He kicks a field goal and misses from 32. Just constant. My notes here. constant offensive fuck ups. That's what I write in red.
There it is.
All right. So at halftime, the Bengals and Boomer Esiason lead it 10-3. I mean, I'm looking at this. Favre's taking sacks and sacks. Okay. So now in the second half,
What's going through your head, like when you're seeing this?
I this
Are
was
you
one of the
rushing
better
to
games
anything?
I've ever covered,
Yeah.
Tyler. There's no question, right? This is like an all-timer. Brett Favre, the helmet off, like you saw the picture, huh? And I'm at the Milwaukee Journal. Michael Ballman. We've got only two people. The baseball playoffs are raging. The Brewers are in the playoffs, are in the race. Michael Ballman wrote a column on Terrell Buckley, who had a punt return for a touchdown. All right, Jackie misses a 47-yard field goal to open the second half. They're not going anywhere. Favre fumbles, loses a fumble. So at the end of three quarters, it's 17-3 Bungles. Bungles. Remember, they used to call them the Bengals or the Bungles. It would all work. All right. So then Pack kicks a field goal. It's 20-10. And so then, all right. The Packers drive 7:55 left. They're down by 10. They got the ball on their own 12. 3rd and 6. Favre scrambles for 19. How about that? 1st and 10 at the 50. He throws a bump and run on an out release, 33 yards to Sharp, and then he throws a 5-yard touchdown pass to Sharp. It's 2017. The Bengals punt. And now the Pack. The ball. All right, now I'm going to go to my things here. The Packers take over at their 8-yard line, okay? Now let me get this right because there's a quote from Mike Shula. Bear with me, Tyler. They started at the 8 with 107 left because Robert Brooks fielded a kickoff one step from the sideline rather than let it carry him out of bounds. Instead of starting from the 35, they start from the 8, trailing by 6 with no timeouts left. Quote from Coach Dave Shula, I wouldn't have wanted to have been in their situation. First play throws in the flat to fullback Harry Sidney, gain of 4, and there's kind of murmurs from the crowd. What in the hell are they doing? Well, Holmgren wanted to see what Ron Lynn would do with his defense. Again, defenses were more static then. What you show on the first play of a drive might be what you're going to show all the way down the field. They rushed only 4 on that first play, and they did it on their first 5 snaps, 4-man rush. And they dropped the rest in the cover 2 zone. So the second play, he throws the same pass on the sideline, the cover 2 beater, the window on the sideline, a 42-yard shot to Sterling Sharp right in front of the Bengal coaching staff. I can see that play. The ball was thrown high and hard, but Sharp adjusted his body and made an awkward but tremendous catch. He separated his ribs and was out for the rest of the game.
I just
Now,
watched it while you're breaking it
are
down.
you?
It's an unbelievable throw. It's like the first absolute rip from number 4. I mean, you can just see it just right to the sideline, right where it has to be. And Sterling, it's like I think his ribs, it looks like it just landed on the ball. Funny, right?
Oh,
Yeah. And he's just peeled over. He's actually out there the next snap holding his ribs,
okay.
and he's just a decoy. Favre throws it over the middle to Workman. 28 seconds, 27, 26. All right, I'll let you take over.
All right. So in that cover 2, they have safeties Fernandez Vinson, a 7th-round pick from NC State in 91, and Darrell Williams. So they're splitting the field in that back end. And they keep running the same coverage, Ron Lynn. Okay, Vincent, I looked it up when I got home when I wrote that thing. He ran a 4.740, which was tortoise slow now. He wouldn't be in the league now. And then it wasn't very fast either. So he's got half the field and he's 4.7. That's really slow for a safety. And Holmgren obviously knew that. And he was on that Bengal side of the field. So Vincent said, I played against Brett. I interviewed him after the game. I played against Brett in a bowl game in Birmingham, Alabama, in the Senior Bowl. He keeps throwing it, and he keeps throwing it hard. All right, so they throw us, I call that a circle route to Workman for 11. And then by the time Favre assembled the team, they had no timeout. He threw it into the ground to stop the clock, 19 seconds left. So Sharp now is out of the game. And they bring in Kittrick Taylor. And let's look at Kittrick Taylor, Tyler. This is the only touchdown in his 6-year career. He played 6 years. He caught 36 balls. He was cut by the Packers on November 16th, so about 2 months later. Kittrick Taylor, he eventually played for 5 teams. All right, so Kittrick's over where Sharp was. Jackie Harris is also tight end to the right. Brooks and Sunday Beach are wide left. All 4 receivers, 4 vert, 7-step drop by Favre. Ken Rutgers neutralizes Alfred Williams. Left guard Rich Moran stops Alonzo Mitz. Right tackle Tootie Robbins tied up Danny Stubbs. Ron Hallstrom, the right guard, got bull rushed by Tim Krumrie. Back almost into Favre, but the quarterback still was able to step up and hurl the exact same pass he had just completed to Sharp. Rod Jones, the corner, let Taylor release off. Favre had time to pump fake to Harris down the middle. It held Vincent just enough. Vincent was 10 yards late getting over there, and he hit him in stride, crossing the goal lines for a 35-yard touchdown. Center James Campen said, I saw the whole thing. It was just like a missile. Favre said that vanilla defense, he said, would they, ignorant of his arm strength? He said, they may have been. I doubt they'd do it again. Mike Holmgren, who won those Super Bowl rings at San Francisco, said, if you can pass protect in that situation, you've got a chance to move the ball. I've been fortunate to be associated with some great teams in San Francisco, but this victory is obviously the happiest of my life. Favre admitted to all his mistakes, all his foibles, just complete goofiness. And he said, but the guys kept hanging with me. They could have been saying, this sucker's killing us. Get him out of here. It was a wonderful, wonderful win. A couple more little things. You know, Favre had done this comeback stuff at Southern Miss. He beat Alabama and Auburn. Favre said, I was shaking. I felt like I took a laxative. Thank God I held it till afterwards. That last ball, I was so scared, I thought I was going to throw it halfway up into the seats. When I threw it, I closed my eyes and he was just listening. I was just listening for a cheer. And I'll close with 2 days later, Holmgren was asked about this again. And he said, well, the coach said, Steve Mariucci, the QB coach, he said he's very coachable. He just may drive you nuts sometimes because he's Brett Favre. Holmgren said, oh man, is this the football follies? This is going to be on the bloopers. I mean, calling the wrong formations, fumbling, dropping the ball, throwing some horrible passes. But boy, it was really the start of a Hall of Fame legendary career, wasn't it? That's a game I will never forget.
I just realized I was muted there. Sorry.
There we go.
What I said was I think everybody listening and watching, they can picture the touchdown to Kittrick Taylor, but that story that leads up to it on how awful they were playing, how awful Brett Favre was playing. That's the legend right there. I mean, he's doesn't know what a nickel defense is and taking crazy sacks, running all over the place like a chicken with his head cut off. But when he had to have it, iconic touchdown. All right, Bob, we're going to have a lot more football to talk about next week. Any final thoughts?
None. Thank you for listening.
Hey, thanks so much, everyone.